Were you surprised by Paddy's game plan?
I didn't understand his game plan even. He wanted to box with Gaethje, but he couldn't wrestle him, he couldn't box him. He just a little bit young and he has a better chin, but he's a trash can.
Just curious, what did you think about Paddy's chin? Because a lot of people say Justin Gaethje is the hardest hitter they've ever faced.
Yeah, but Paddy got knocked out like 15, 20 times. Yeah, Justin was like 3-4 years ago, he was different. Now it's like he's getting old and it's last a couple fights he got.
I just felt like I did enough. I just felt like I did enough to get the job done. Paddy is getting the beat out of him right now. It looks like, Jesus, this might not end well.
I saw what happened, and I won't let it slide. It's not the first time Justin will do such cheap tricks with poking eyes like those. His fight against Paddy will be his last game. UFC is only for the real fighters, not the cheater.
Do not get knocked. That Scouser does not get knocked out.
Hold on.
My God.
It was almost like he understood the assignment. We're on Paramount. There's a new network. There are going to be new fans. We need to introduce them to what the UFC is. I think after watching that, everybody that was tuned in are going to be lifelong fans of the UFC. Because on the special nights, there is not a sport in the world that can compare to the UFC, and tonight we have one of those special nights.
Paddy's heart, the grit of this kid. I don't care that he lost the fight. He comes back and murders like most guys.
Yeah.
Like anyone that doesn't have the grit. Like obviously everyone, like myself and everybody else, is worried about how much a fight like this takes out of you. But he's super young.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I think he's young enough to bounce back from a fight like this and to turn it into a superpower moving forward. Because not many people survive Gaethje the way he does, the way he did, or like have moments of greatness late in the fight after taking the hits that he took.
The fight that broke the internet just went down, and the aftermath is absolutely insane. Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje delivered everything we expected, and somehow still left the entire MMA world completely divided. You've got experts who nailed their predictions celebrating like they just won the lottery, while others are scrambling to explain how they got it so wrong. But here's what's really wild. The post-fight debate is actually more explosive than the fight itself. Fans are going to war on social media, analysts are doubling down on their takes, and some of the biggest names in the sport are admitting they completely misread this matchup. The chaos isn't dying down, it's just getting started.
UFC, you were saying stuff like, well, his entrance is good and it's all well and good to get the fans, but he needs to be able to fight. Obviously, we've seen him have great wins before, but to show the durability he had in that fight tonight, do you feel like even though he lost, he will be considered one of the best in that division moving forward?
No doubt about it. I mean, he was the favorite tonight. I think that's what fucked him. Every other one, he's the underdog and everybody thinks he's going to lose. Tonight, he's the favorite. I don't think that his game plan was the greatest. Obviously, tonight he showed he is tough, he is durable, and almost impossible. I mean, especially against Gaethje. And you're eating those punches from him. You know, it's one thing to say, listen, I'm going to come out. I believe in, say, you know what? It's the third round. I got 2 rounds left. I might want to try to take him down and submit him here.
Now let me break down what the real experts saw coming, because Tim Welch called this fight with surgical precision months ago. This dude didn't just predict what would happen. He mapped out Justin Gaethje's entire game plan like he was reading from a script. Welch zeroed in on something most people completely overlooked. Those calf kicks weren't just strikes, they were investments in future violence. Think about it. Every time Justin lands one of those kicks, he's not just causing immediate pain. He's systematically destroying his opponent's foundation, changing their stance, limiting their mobility, making them hesitant to throw combinations. And here's the genius part. Once those legs start to compromise, suddenly Justin's hands become exponentially more dangerous. Your opponent can't move properly, can't pivot away from power shots, can't explode into takedowns. It's like watching a chess master sacrifice pawns to set up checkmate. Welch saw this blueprint clear as day, while everyone else was getting caught up in the hype.
That's to Justin Gaethje. What an unbelievable performance. Paddy the Baddie, oh my God, he impressed the hell out of me. Incredible. He'll learn from that, but I tell you what, he's got what you can't teach. Heart, grit, determination, all that shit. Yeah, he can make tweaks. You can put the chin down, you can lift the hands up. What he showed tonight is that he is legit. The man is real, and that's for damn sure. He's at the hospital right now. He'll be fine. They're just checking him out. Gotta say though, well done, Justin Gaethje. He was.
But here's where Tim Welch's analysis got really scary accurate, and this is the part that should terrify every fighter in this division. He identified the exact moment when Pimblett would be most vulnerable, and it wasn't when he was defending or backing up. It was when he was being aggressive. Welch explained that every single time Paddy would launch forward with those wild flurries, his chin would follow him straight into the danger zone, and against a counterpuncher like Gaethje. That's basically signing your own death warrant. Welch kept hammering this point. One perfectly timed counter during any of Paddy's aggressive moments could end everything instantly. He wasn't just analyzing a fight, he was predicting a potential highlight reel knockout. And the crazy part? Welch knew that Paddy wouldn't be able to resist being aggressive. It's literally who he is as a fighter. So you're watching this collision course play out in slow motion, where Paddy's greatest strength becomes his most dangerous weakness.
And I felt that he deviated from the game plan, meaning that if I was in his corner, you're gonna move. One, he's gotta keep his hands up here. I like the traditional look where you can move, you can elbow, you can throw your right hand, right, left, high kick, push kick. You're just way more, this is standard. This is like the best option. But I still feel like he deviated from the game plan where I think he felt that he was gonna be able to knock out Justin Gaethje, and I just don't think Paddy Pimblett has that torque. Not saying he can't do it, I just don't think he has the torque to knock out a guy like Justin Gaethje, who's been in wars with guys like Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway. Max Holloway's knocked him out. He's knocked out Dustin Poirier. He's been in wars with Eddie Alvarez. He's just been in a lot of wars on the feet. But when you look at some of the things that, Khabib did to Justin Gaethje, he made it look easy. He took him down,
Now here's what separated Tim Welch's breakdown from every other generic analysis out there, and why his prediction carried so much weight in the MMA community. Most analysts were lazily framing this as striker versus grappler, which is honestly insulting to both fighters. Welch went deeper. He understood that longer fights naturally devolve into chaos, and chaos has always been Pimblett's playground. So what looks like a dangerous striking exchange for Paddy could instantly transform into a grueling grappling sequence that completely flips the script. Welch painted this picture where Paddy's willingness to engage in wild exchanges wasn't just about landing strikes. It was about creating opportunities for scrambles, takedowns, and ground positions where he could completely take over. He saw how Paddy could turn his apparent disadvantage into a massive advantage by dragging Gaethje into the kind of fight that breaks opponents mentally and physically. It was brilliant analysis that most people completely missed.
Aspect to this entire game plan, okay? Gaethje was going to pressure fight him, walking down, guns blazing, turn it into a dogfight, and hopefully he outlasts Paddy, okay? This whole game plan is banking on the fact that he knows he can take more, he can deal more, and he can capitalize on it later in the fight. Okay, because and to be fair, he's got legs to walk with that because he's done it time and time again. And round 3, we saw him be like, okay, I'm gonna take this round off.
I'm gonna back up a little bit.
Dude, I'm gonna stay at mid-range. I'm not gonna walk you down and just let you come back a little bit, try to build some energy. Right? And everyone was worried. Like, honestly, I saw like a glint of disinterest from Gaethje. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it was weird. But then round 4 just puts his foot back on the pedal, maybe knowing he's got 2 rounds left. Bar fight Gaethje. It was Gaethje of old.
And that's exactly why Welch's final prediction hit different than everyone else's hot takes. He acknowledged that this fight existed on a razor's edge where one clean shot could change everything in an instant, but he still leaned toward Pimblett. His reasoning was pure genius. Across all the chaotic scenarios that would inevitably unfold, Paddy would find his path to victory more often than Justin. Not because it would be easy, not because it would be comfortable, but because Paddy thrives in disorder while most fighters crumble. Welch understood something fundamental about both fighters. Gaethje needs structure and space to implement his game plan, while Pimblett gets stronger as fights get messier. It was a prediction based on fighting DNA, not just technical skills. And when you break it down like that, suddenly Welch's confidence in Paddy makes perfect sense.
That fucker's right. Scousers do not get knocked out. That Scouser does not get knocked out.
I'm a Scouser. We don't get knocked out. We don't get knocked out. I take that all day.
Hold on. My God. What a fucking gangster.
Obviously delivered in the main event, capped off with a war. Just give us your thoughts on Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett delivering a 5-round battle.
Yeah, I mean, what a couple. So Paddy Pimblett at the weigh-ins yesterday says, I'm going to knock this motherfucker out tomorrow. And I was like, that's interesting. And he never abandoned that game plan. Even when, he got dropped a couple times, I kept waiting for him. I'm like, he's eventually going to have to shoot and try to submit him. Now, I didn't know Paddy Pimblett had a chin like that till tonight. And, absolute dogfight in a war, and much respect to both guys.
We haven't seen Justin yet, so we don't know what his status is physically. But, I mean, is the interim, is the unification fight have to be next? Or is there a case if he's hurt and needs to be out for a while?
Apparently he's 100%. So we sent Paddy Pimblett straight to the hospital, and then we're going to send Gaethje too. And Gaethje's like, believe me, I've been in plenty of wars. I'm good. So as far as we know right now, he's healthy.
He couldn't even beat the biggest guy in a ring contest.
But then Teddy Atlas stepped in with a completely different perspective that flipped the entire narrative on its head. While everyone else was obsessing over power and chaos, Atlas focused on something way more subtle but equally important: control. He broke down why Gaethje absolutely had to box intelligently, emphasizing constant lateral movement and smart angle creation instead of standing directly in front of a human tornado like Pimblett. Here's what made Atlas's analysis so valuable. He actually gave Paddy credit for evolving as a fighter. Most veterans in this sport are stubborn about acknowledging when young fighters improve, but Atlas specifically noted how much sharper and more confident Pimblett had become. He wasn't analyzing the same fighter who stumbled through early career growing pains. He was breaking down a legitimately dangerous, evolved version of Pimblett who had clearly put in serious work on his striking game.
Michael Chandler. He's taken on the highlight Justin Gaethje. Gaethje. 26 wins, 5 losses, 20 KOs. The dude fucking KOs people. Early on, he'd calf kick the fuck out of people. He'd calf kick people where they couldn't take it anymore. He had many TKOs from calf kicks alone. The guy is just a dense fucking ball of muscle, built for fighting, 37 years old now. He's crumpled people with his left hook. He's crumpled people with his right hand. Paddy Pimblett is going to have to be very careful flurrying, throwing his flurries on Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje will sit down and rip a left hook, or sit down, drop his head, and launch a right hand. That's Justin Gaethje's ways to win. He could KO Paddy.
Atlas went even deeper into Pimblett's transformation, pointing out visible improvements that casual fans were completely missing. Paddy looked stronger, more settled in his identity, and way more confident in his striking exchanges. But here's where Atlas's experience really showed. He identified the double-edged sword that could make or break Pimblett's performance. Yes, the striking had improved dramatically, but that dangerous habit of unnecessary trading was still there. And against someone as patient and punishing as Gaethje, that willingness to stand and trade could quickly become a fatal flaw. Atlas painted this picture where Pimblett's improvements might actually work against him by making him overconfident in striking exchanges he should be avoiding. It's like watching someone get better at playing with fire. Sure, they're more skilled, but they're also more likely to get burned because they think they can handle the heat.
Love to see fucking Justin Gaethje with the title around his waist. He earned it. Justin Gaethje's fought all these fucking monsters his whole goddamn career. Edson Barbosa, Donald Cerrone, Eddie Alvarez, Dustin Poirier, Khabib, Michael Chandler, Charles Oliveira, Fiziev twice, Dustin Poirier again, Max Holloway. Like, holy shit. He's fought the elite. So I'd love to see Justin Gaethje get it done. If I had to put, fuck, this is hard. If someone gave me $10,000 to bet with, and they said, hey, put it on who you think's going to win. God. I'm going to say 60-40. 60-40. 40% chance that Justin Gaethje knocks Paddy Pimblett out. Hits him on his chin. When Paddy Pimblett's flurrying, hits him right on his fucking, hits him right on the scouser chin. Bunk. Gets dropped. 40% chance, I think. 60% chance this fight, Justin's not able to find him. It's a little bit, it's like a spastic, weird style. He's not able to find his chin. If Paddy Pimblett puts him on his back, it's going to be a long night for Justin.
Here's where Atlas's prediction gets really interesting, because his reasoning had nothing to do with fading skills or declining performance from either fighter. Atlas leaned toward Pimblett, but not because he thought Gaethje was slowing down, quite the opposite actually. He believed both fighters were at high levels, but Paddy possessed something more valuable in the later rounds: adaptability. Atlas saw that Pimblett had more room to adjust and evolve during the fight itself, while Gaethje's game plan was more rigid and predictable. And in those chaotic later rounds where both fighters are exhausted and desperate, the ability to find new solutions becomes absolutely crucial. Atlas was essentially betting on Pimblett's creativity and youth over Gaethje's experience and power. It was a fascinating take that highlighted something most people ignore. Sometimes the fighter who can change mid-fight has a bigger advantage than the fighter with the better initial game plan.
Will youth be served with Pimblett? Maybe. Gaethje, experience, good striker. He's well-rounded everywhere, but he's got to use the assets of a smaller guy. We've seen it, where you got to box, you got to use your legs, you got to set traps. You know, he's got the capability of doing that. Outmaneuver, outflank Pimblett. You know, Pimblett, let me tell you, he has improved a lot over the last 2 years. He really has, bud. He has gotten better. He's gotten more. You could see he's come into his own. Confidence-wise, physically, he's in great shape. They usually all are. But he's improved. His striking has improved.
He's a good wrestler, grappler. But he loves to strike. That's what's going to make this fight really interesting and good. They're both going to strike. I mean, for the most part, they're both going to strike.
Then Max Holloway jumped into the conversation and stripped everything down to its most brutal, essential element, pure durability. And when a guy who's absorbed more punishment than almost anyone in UFC history talks about durability, you better listen. Max laid out the entire fight in the simplest possible terms. If Pimblett could somehow absorb Gaethje's concussive power without breaking, then everything could change in an instant. One hurt moment, one scramble, one positional shift, and suddenly the entire momentum swings violently. Max understood something that technical analysts sometimes miss. Fights aren't won on paper. They're won by who can endure more punishment and still find a way to impose their will. He was basically saying that all the technical breakdowns and strategic predictions meant nothing if Paddy couldn't survive the early storm. It was a reality check wrapped in brutal honesty.
Youth might be served here, but I would go with the over on this because I think the over-under is like
2.5 rounds.
How many?
2.5 rounds over minus 115.
All right, listen. Again, we have a pretty good record here, but, you know, I mess up once in a while. I do. That's why it's gambling. But I like the over. I mean, if Gaethje fights the perfect fight, you never know. You never know. But I know who the judges are probably favoring. Oh, did I say that? I'm sorry. It shouldn't be anything about that. It should just be about what goes on in the cage or in the ring. But I can't help myself but think about things that I see. So maybe, you know, Gaethje would really have to do a job, I think, to get it, which he could. But I think I'd probably favor Pimblett a little bit. But at the end of the day, if I had to put my bucks down.
But Max didn't sugarcoat the other side of that equation either. And this is why his analysis carried so much weight throughout the MMA community. He made it crystal clear that Gaethje's power isn't just about knockouts. It's about completely disrupting an opponent's rhythm and confidence with every single connection. Max explained how Justin's strikes are designed to do devastating damage every time they land, turning any extended striking exchange into a high-stakes gamble. You're not just risking getting knocked out, you're risking having your entire game plan shattered by one clean shot. Max painted this picture where even if Pimblett survived the big shots, the accumulation of damage would slowly erode his ability to implement his grappling game. It's like fighting someone who's systematically destroying your tools while you're trying to use them.
Paddy, if he can eat it, I can see Paddy catching Gaethje and maybe almost like a Oliveira fight, you know, catch Gaethje, hurt Gaethje wobble, and then, you know, get to Gaethje's back or something, maybe subtle. You know what I mean? Like, Paddy is very well rounded. You know, he out wrestled wrestlers, he out grappled grapplers. He stands with you. You know, he doesn't care. He throws. You know, everybody be like, his chin is in the air. He takes shots. Yeah, he takes shots and he still walk forward. How long will that last? We don't know. And that's the question I have to this fight. Or what his reaction is going to be when Justin Gaethje catches him. Justin Gaethje.
The legendary Marquez treated this matchup like the ultimate coin flip, and his reasoning reveals something fascinating about how elite fighters analyze potential outcomes. He didn't see any middle ground whatsoever. Either Gaethje would systematically break Pimblett down through accumulated damage, or Paddy would survive long enough to drag the fight into his chaotic grappling world where he could take over completely. Marquez understood that both fighters represented such extreme skill sets that compromise outcomes were basically impossible. You weren't going to see a boring decision or a technical point fighting match. This was going to be definitive, violent, and probably spectacular regardless of who won. That binary uncertainty is exactly what made this matchup so compelling for hardcore fans who understand that some fights transcend normal predictions, because both outcomes would be equally dramatic and definitive.
For me, this is a flip up, bro. I'm not surprised if any of these guys win, because I can see two clear paths to these guys winning. I can see Gaethje catching Paddy, you know, putting him down, finishing him. Then I can see Pimblett catching Paddy, Pimblett catching Gaethje, maybe knock him out or hurt him enough to where he can get a submission. You know, I think so. Paramount, the UFC did a really great really great job of putting this first Paramount card together. From the main card, the first main card fight to the main event is sick. It's going to be action packed, and you fans are going to love it. You know, the new fans are going to love it. I mean, Gaethje is just violence. Paddy Pimblett doesn't run away from violence. It's going to be a fun fight. Like I said, I don't know who to choose. I'm not choosing no one. I see both guys. I think this is a coin flip. I think whoever can endure the more damage is going to win.
Demetrius Johnson brought a completely different perspective to the table, focusing on something most analysts completely overlooked: the microscopic opportunities that exist during grappling transitions. DJ explained that even elite scramblers like Gaethje sometimes leave tiny positional gaps during chaotic exchanges, and those split-second windows are exactly where submissions can appear out of nowhere. He broke down how Pimblett's timing and creativity could exploit these fleeting moments when Justin's defensive focus might shift from submission defense to positional improvement. DJ was essentially describing a chess match happening at light speed, where one small mistake in transition could end the entire fight. It was analysis that only someone with DJ's grappling IQ could provide, highlighting technical details that separate good grapplers from great ones.
With that being said, let me get to the keys of victory for both these guys. When you look at Paddy Pimblett, keys of victory Paddy Pimblett has got to be dynamic. We're starting to see Paddy Pimblett become more comfortable inside the octagon. So the key victory number one for Paddy Pimblett is be dynamic, meaning that if Justin Gaethje puts you against the cage, don't be scared to do a flying triangle. If Justin Gaethje tries to go for a dump, go for a Kimura, because 9 out of 10 times when he does that, he's able to turn it into something that favors him in the fight. Key number two, grapple. You know, when you look at Justin Gaethje's past fight, when people grapple him that have a good grappling ability, he seems to have hard times with grapplers, where people, you know, when people drop him, Charles Oliveira dropped him, he crossed the volley, jumped on him, got his back, submitted him with a rear naked choke. You look when he fought Habib took him down, passed his guard, mounted him, got a triangle from top and rolled to his back. Now I feel like Paddy Pimblett has that grappling ability that can oppose some problems to Justin Gaethje.
But Johnson also addressed something that casual fans love to argue about: competition level and opponent quality. He made a brilliant point that once positions are locked down on the mat, reputation means absolutely nothing. When you're engaged in a pure grappling battle, past opponents and accolades fade away completely. What matters is technique, balance, and timing in that exact moment. DJ was essentially saying that all the talk about strength of schedule becomes irrelevant once the fight hits the ground, because grappling is the great equalizer where only skill speaks. It's a perspective that only comes from someone who dominated at the highest level for years and understands that fights are won by execution, not by resume comparisons.
He got the better of. This was a great scrap. I have no idea how Paddy Pimblett did not get flatline KO'd on about 50 different occasions. If he lost, yes, he did lose, and if he lost any stock from this, the one saving grace is that he's been saying for a long time, we don't get knocked out, lad. And that would be the worst thing to happen to him. If he got KO'd in one of these fights badly, that would just be his ridicule forever. What happened to Scousers don't get knocked out, and it'd just be images of Paddy Pimblett out cold. I have no idea how he didn't get flatlined in this fight. Justin Gaethje was cracking him with so many overhand rights. And the worst part was, it's not even like you were understanding why he took the shot so well. Oh, he was rolling with that one. Oh, he tucked into that one a little bit. He saw it coming. I could see the shots coming. I was wincing while Gaethje was loading up because you could see Pimblett leaving exchanges with his chin up in the air and just getting his whole jaw span. And somehow he's still in the fight and throwing back. Absolutely crazy fight. Need to win, but I am going to bring up the fouls. Gaethje fought very fucking dirty in this fight. A lot of eye pokes, a groin shot as well. I think Paddy Pimblett had a groin shot that he landed too, but that was towards the end of the fight where it was just an absolute mess of a scrap between the two of them. But Gaethje landed some really, really bad eye pokes on him. But it doesn't matter because the result is the result. Pimblett gets beaten over.
Johnson ultimately leaned toward Pimblett, and his reasoning reveals something crucial about fight preparation and performance optimization. He believed Paddy's lighter fight schedule allowed for better recovery and consistently sharper performances when it mattered most. DJ understood that in a sport where marginal gains make huge differences, being fresher and more prepared could outweigh experience advantages. This viewpoint was echoed by other analysts who saw the fight as a test of growth versus experience, with Pimblett's evolution potentially trumping Gaethje's proven track record. It's the classic debate between hungry young talent and established veteran skill, but with the added wrinkle that both fighters were still in their primes and performing at elite levels.
Justin Big Rufus Gaethje puts on a very destructive performance against Paddy Pimblett. Kind of sloppy, little bit of a street beefs masterclass, if that's the word that you want to use to describe these two. Just standing in the pocket, swinging, trading, falling all over each other. There was some goofy takedown attempts and scrambles. But what it came down to is, like I said in the prediction video, Paddy Pimblett at that long range was landing some nice calf kicks. His jab was working quite well against him. We knew that Justin Gaethje, when he defends, ducks down into strikes, and Paddy Pimblett was able to land some nice knees up the middle, some nice head kicks. There was a couple of fouls back and forth that we'll talk about in this fight as well, but mostly it came down to, at range, Paddy Pimblett could do well, and he was kind of trying to force maybe a bad exchange out of Justin Gaethje where he could get some grappling going, but really didn't go for the takedowns in this fight. He's not really a guy that will shoot a takedown and wrestle.
Expanding. Now here's where the expert predictions get really interesting, because the MMA community was genuinely split down the middle with legitimate arguments on both sides. Bedtime MMA described it as a wild, chaotic clash that could go either way, acknowledging the unpredictable nature of both fighters. But on the complete opposite side, respected voices like Dan Hardy and Bilal Muhammad leaned definitively toward Gaethje for reasons that hardcore fans could definitely understand. They pointed to Justin's extensive experience defending submissions, which is absolutely crucial against a grappler like Pimblett. They also highlighted his strategic preference for draining opponents through striking rather than engaging in energy-intensive wrestling exchanges. And here's the kicker. They emphasized that long stretches on the feet have historically played perfectly into Gaethje's patience, power, and composure under pressure. These weren't casual predictions. These were technical breakdowns from people who understand exactly what it takes to win at the highest level.
End of the day, like, watching this fight, you do kind of just have to laugh to yourself, because they're fighting tooth and fucking nail. They're scrapping for the honor of getting slimed out by fucking Ilia Topuria. Like, we already knew that before this fight, but nothing in this fight has convinced me otherwise, that Ilia does not KO both these guys in like 2 rounds flat. I know that's not a hot take or unpopular opinion, but yeah, Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett, they went out there, they had a crazy brawl. Ilia's probably gonna get on. This was like two drunk dogs fighting for the bone. You know what I mean? That's how Ilia would describe it, but it was entertaining.
So there you have it. The biggest names in MMA were genuinely divided on this fight, with legitimate technical arguments supporting both sides. Some saw Pimblett's evolution and adaptability overcoming Gaethje's power and experience, while others believed Justin's proven ability to break opponents through accumulated damage would be too much for Paddy to overcome. What made this so fascinating wasn't just the fight itself, but how it revealed different philosophies about what wins fights at the highest level. Are you betting on youth and hunger, or experience and proven power? Do you favor the fighter who thrives in chaos, or the one who systematically breaks opponents down? The fact that legitimate experts couldn't agree tells you everything about how evenly matched these two really were. So here's my question for you. Looking back at all these predictions, who do you think had the best read on this fight? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let me know which analysis you found most convincing. If this breakdown helped you understand the different perspectives going into this massive fight, smash that like button, subscribe for more in-depth MMA analysis, and hit the notification bell because we're just getting started with the fallout from this incredible matchup. I'll see you in the next one.